Hey everyone, and welcome back. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining us today for a brand new explainer. Normally, we spend our time here breaking down dense research papers, historical timelines, or, complex technological trends. But today we're doing something incredibly fun. We are dissecting the mechanics of comedy, specifically by looking at a brilliant little fictional story called The Samosas and the Siren, featuring the smart thief and the smarter grandma. We're going to look at exactly how this simple, short narrative completely subverts everything we expect from the classic home invasion trope. It is a literal masterclass in flipping the script, and I cannot wait to show you how it works.
So let's dive right into this by asking a foundational question. Think about it. What are the essential ingredients for a successful heist? If you watch literally any Hollywood movie, you'd probably say you need a foolproof plan, incredible stealth, some high-tech gadgets, and, of course, a vulnerable target. You expect suspense, right? You expect high stakes. We are culturally conditioned to anticipate tension the literal second a lock is picked. Keep those ingredients in your mind, because we are about to contrast that intense expectation with the disastrously funny reality our fictional thief is about to experience. All right, let's get into Section 1, the midnight break-in.
Our story kicks off exactly how you'd expect a classic thriller to start. It was midnight. A thief quietly entered an old house, thinking it would be an easy target. The thief is creeping into this dark, silent space. He even whispers to himself, "Perfect. Old house, old people, easy money." The author is setting up the pins exactly where we expect them to be. We've got the classic villain, the assumed victims, and the cover of darkness. But, well, it really doesn't stay that way for long.
Because the tension is instantly, completely unapologetically shattered. The thief has this arrogant expectation thinking he holds all the power. But suddenly, a voice calls out from the dark. It's the grandma. And she just casually says, "Beta, if you're looking for money, check the kitchen drawer. Inflation has stolen more than you ever could." I mean, wow. It is an incredibly sharp, completely impartial observation about the economy, delivered right in the middle of a home invasion. She isn't screaming, she isn't hiding, she is literally just making a dry macroeconomic joke. Which brings us to Section 2, defying all expectations. The thief, naturally, is completely floored. He stammers out, What, you're awake?" And she replies with this absolute gem. "At my age, sleep and Wi-Fi signals both disappear randomly." I absolutely love this line. It perfectly highlights the humor in her hyper-awareness. She isn't a scared victim clutching her pearls. Rather, she's just kind of mildly annoyed by modern technological inconveniences and her own insomnia. She's treating the intruder not as a threat, but as a minor late-night distraction on par with a buffering video stream.
So the thief nervously asks where the money actually is. And instead of a struggle, instead of some dramatic chase, he's given a set of oddly calm, precise directions. Step 1, go to the kitchen. Step 2, open the second drawer on the left. Imagine being in his shoes for a second. You break in prepared for a physical altercation, and instead you are handed a verbal treasure map by the supposed victim. It just completely disarms the aggressor.
And then we get to the payoff, which is just hilarious. He cautiously walks into the kitchen, follows her exact instructions, pulls open that second drawer on the left, and what does he find? 20 rupees. A measly 20 rupees. The grand heist he planned in the dead of night yields barely enough change to buy a pack of gum. But honestly, it's what accompanies the money that truly pivots the whole story.
Sitting right next to that tiny bit of cash is a handwritten note. It reads, "Take this and buy yourself some snacks. Robbing houses on an empty stomach is dangerous." Pure comedic genius. It completely flips the script. The story instantly transitions from a tense thriller into a scenario filled with a wholesome, almost aggressively maternal tone. I mean, she's worrying about his blood sugar while he's in the middle of committing a felony.
The thief is just as baffled as we are at this point, asking aloud, "What kind of family is this?" And the grandma casually replies, "The kind that believes in customer service." This brilliantly captures the sheer absurdity of the scene. We are now treating a midnight robbery exactly like a retail transaction. The grandma views the thief less like a violent criminal and more like a deeply unsatisfied, hungry patron at a local restaurant. Let's move to Section 3, the maternal plot twist. Out of nowhere, sirens. The thief panics and yells, "You called the police?" But here is the major twist. Who actually called the cops? Was it the sharp-witted grandma? Nope, it was the thief's own mother. He realizes in real time, that he wasn't outsmarted by a state-of-the-art security system or a vigilant neighborhood watch. He was betrayed by his own family's overbearing concern for his dietary habits. Let's walk through the absolute comedy of errors that allowed these two matriarchs to accidentally coordinate his arrest. First, the critical mistake. He left his phone on the grandma's sofa. Second, his mom called 3 times. Third, when the grandma inevitably answered the phone, his mom asked, "Has my son eaten dinner yet?" And finally, the grandma just helpfully gave his mom the address. It is a devastating cascade of total incompetence from the thief, brought down by pure maternal anxiety. And this all builds to his ultimate defeat. The thief grabs his phone to check, and he sees this number. 12. 12 missed calls from Mom, Heart. Just think about the sheer scale of that oversight. The blinking notification of 12 missed calls from your mother is a universally understood symbol of impending doom. It really doesn't matter if you're a law-abiding citizen or a literal cat burglar. That is terrifying. It completely seals his fate. Finally, we reached Section 4, Samosas, Tea, and Arrest. Completely defeated, the thief basically surrenders, but when he says he's finished, the grandma delivers the ultimate power move. She says, "No, Beta, you're coming inside for tea first. The police can wait." Notice how she completely overrides the urgency of local law enforcement with the absolute, unstoppable priority of offering tea to a guest. The flashing blue lights might be outside, but in her house, hospitality laws supersede criminal laws every single time. Let's look at exactly how fast a serious crime dissolved into an enforced tea party by tracing the timeline here. 12 a.m. He breaks in, feeling like an absolute mastermind. 12:05 a.m. He finds a mere 20 rupees and a note about snacks. 12:15 a.m. The cops are called by his own mother. But check out that final timestamp. He isn't actually arrested until 2:15 a.m. There is a massive 2-hour gap between the sirens arriving and the thief actually going to jail. So what on earth happened during that 2-hour gap? Well, as the narrator tells us, the thief had to endure his final punishment. For refreshments, we have mandatory tea and samosas, and for activities, 2 solid hours of listening to Grandma's unsolicited life advice. Before the police were allowed to finally take him away in handcuffs, he was subjected to the ultimate form of grandmotherly discipline. Honestly, I think he might have preferred just going straight to jail. And that brings us to the end of our story and to this final provocative question I want to leave you with today. Really think about it. Which is a stronger deterrent to crime, a blaring police siren or a grandmother's disappointed life advice? This story is hilarious for sure, but it also taps into a really fun universal truth. The structured, intense expectations of a thriller are completely powerless against the mundane, persistent, and overwhelming force of a grandmother's hospitality and a mother's concern. The next time you sit down to watch a heist movie, just ask yourself, how quickly would this entire plot fall apart if a grandmother was sitting on the couch offering tea? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep learning, keep questioning, and we'll see you next time.